And here we are. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
We are
everybody.
live. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Dan. How are
How are
you?
you today?
I'm good.
No, long time no talk.
Yeah.
At least a couple hours, I guess. Anywho, all right. Let's continue our little discussion that we started a few weeks ago about charging for design services. You've probably heard me talk about this a couple times.
Once or twice.
Once or twice. I don't know. I've been preaching about this ever since I just found out one day that I could actually charge for my design services and people would pay me for it because
It's a miracle, isn't it?
it's a miracle. It's a
Actually,
mind.
yeah, it's actually the first hurdle. The first hurdle that people need to get over is just that concept that you can charge, and it's a hard hurdle. Curdle? It's a hard hurdle. Wow. Can you finish that for me?
It's a hard hurdle. It's a hard, hard hurdle.
Yeah, that. Hello, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce and Chris. How you doing,
Chris.
guys? Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. But yeah, it's a fun topic to talk about because it's really a tough topic, I think.
It is.
Like anything in construction, it's all price. There's so much is price driven. What was it? I heard sometime, I forget who it was, maybe Tom Hopkins. He said, "How do you know what to charge?" And he said something to the effect of you look at the client in the eye and you kind of follow their eyes down to their back into their pocketbook and just think how much you can get out of there.
I don't know that that's true, but I get his point. There's also the concept that as you're following his eyes, how many barricades are in between his eyes and his wallet?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There are a lot of things to consider, but the first one is, what are you worth? And that comes down to the concepts that we've talked about. Well, we've talked about them a lot over the years, but specifically, I'm thinking about the summit when we taught about to value yourself, to value your own contribution, because you are the expert, you are the professional.
Yeah, exactly. I still remember those conversations we were having back then, especially a little sticky note conversation. That was a good one, where your daughters posted little sticky notes all over the place that you were worth. How much was it? 150 or something like that at the time?
250, but yeah.
250, yeah.
The main thing was that they just kept telling me, you're worth it, you're worth it, you're worth it. The Post-it notes told me that. The hard part was that my daughters put the Post-it notes up, so
all over the place.
And in fact, we've got a couple guys on the call that we've had this conversation with, and help them get over the same bump, the same hurdle. So
yeah. So those of you that have joined us, would love to hear about your situation, your hurdles. What kind of things have you overcome? I mean, this whole thing that we're talking about is really talking about sales, selling stuff, selling ourselves, so that we can earn a living to support our family, to do the things that we want to do, and hopefully someday retire. So, yeah, and it all kind of comes down to what we think we're worth. So, Jim Rohn, I think he's got some really good sayings too. I wish I would have looked this up. Some of them are excellent, but it's just like we all have the same amount of time that we have to do things. And with design, we're selling our time for the most part. And so what's the value that we can put into the hours that is that time that we are selling? So, first of all, making yourself more valuable by becoming more knowledgeable is really important. And then realizing that value. I mean, how many contractors do you know, Kevin, that just give away all these great ideas all the time because they're just used to doing that same thing every day. It becomes second nature, third nature, where they don't even think about it anymore. Yeah, you got to do this over here and this over here, and the client looks at it, they don't have a clue what should have been done, and so therefore that value kind of gets lost in the translation, I guess, of that conversation. So Anyway,
It does. It does. The the first thing is to realize that you have value, and then you need to kind of establish a realistic assessment of where your value is. But the first one is to understand that you have value.
Yeah.
One of the turning points for me was when I was having trouble with confidence and whatever else, and I was just feeling like, but there are so many people out there that know so much more than me. It seems like, and the person I was talking to said, Kevin, at some point you're going to figure out that you are the expert. And it was a really interesting concept to realize that when I look in the mirror, I may feel like that I am not that I'm not at the top of my class, top of my game, whatever it might be. I might not be there, but when I'm in a conversation with somebody, this is now 20 years ago, but when I'm in a conversation now with people and they're asking me questions and I'm answering them intelligently and articulately, to them,
Mhm.
I'm the expert.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when the water is pouring out of the light fixture on their dining room table, I'm the expert. And that part is the part that we need to realize, is that the
Yeah.
knowledge that we possess is the part that gives us the expertise. We just need to turn that into confidence.
I love Chris's statement here when he was at the summit here. Was that last year? I think. Chris, I don't remember. Yeah, you were there the first year. Help more than anything. You priced the top of my market. Now I'm still having to turn people away. That's so true. Isn't that cool? So, sometimes pricing yourself higher, you'll be more perceived as more valuable, which is really cool. And
well, not only that, but I think that also says that Chris has gained a lot of confidence in himself and he's able to project that.
so, Chris, how much of that came from our conversation about imposter syndrome that we had at the summit? That was a great conversation.
That was a great
I
conversation.
remember when John brought that up, and I mean, I think half of us were just about in tears because we all realized, yeah, we all struggle with that. I know I do. I still do. But, I try to work through it as best I can. I'd like to hear your perspective of billing hourly versus billing on a fixed price for specific services. I don't know, Kevin, what are your thoughts on that?
I've got a lot of thoughts on that, but I'll try to summarize that.
Yeah.
The thing about this summary is it's going to beg for more. I guess we'll consider it an appetizer because there's a lot behind that question.
Yeah.
So when you consider, well, the question says, hear your perspective on hourly billing versus fixed price for specific services. So you're offering different things. Then you say the same service for client A might take significantly more time than client B. The perspective of client A, the value that client A or B puts into that might be different. So there's a lot that goes into that question. But the bottom line to me is that if you are providing a service that is saying, I'm going to give you an example, that I'm going to walk with you into my sources and help you pick out the perfect furnishings for your new space. That's probably an hourly service. There's no fixed price for that. If you do a fixed price for that, you're going to find yourself at the 17th retail store still picking out the couch material. That one is hourly. On the other hand, when you look at that and say, client A says, okay, I'm willing to pay for that. Client B says, are you out of your freaking mind? I'm not paying you for that. Okay, there's a different value associated with it from that client. So I would leave the fixed price billing to things where deep down that you could itemize, you could create a scope of work, itemize everything involved, and stick a price tag on it and be happy with that result no matter what. But as soon as that time is variable, then you probably should be thinking about that as an hourly cost.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a great comment because yes, I guess the answer would be yes. To that whole question. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes hourly, sometimes project, whatever works for the situation that you're in.
And they may be different. You might have two different ways of presenting the information, two different contract check marks that says how you're going to deal with this particular situation.
I got to say hello to Edit.
Hey,
Edit, nice to see you, Edit. Been a while. Hope
You gotta
everything is
come see
going
us
well there
again.
in Canada. So,
Come see us again sometime.
anyway, what is this question? If you guys have skill and knowledge that's worth a whole lot, and the right clients will pay for it. That is so true.
Yes, they will.
So true. And that's what we're here for. That's why we take time to do all of this stuff and learn this stuff and become pros at Chief and become pros at design. And we go to builder shows and we go to showrooms and we just continue education. It never stops.
But
And, you know,
I would offer this though, that in that thought, that comment that the right clients will pay for it. Different designers offer different things. You know, you may be a production designer that's churning out work right and left. It's going to be at a particular price point that is established by that market, and that's the way it is. But if you are instead serving the appreciative client who's looking for one of a kind design, and you're that one of a kind designer, the sky's the limit. They'll pay whatever you want. You know.
Yeah, you've really excelled in that area, Kevin, with your ability to create all these customized and cool things that you draw. Or that you design and draw.
Well,
yeah, you've done some pretty cool stuff, and in my own right too. I mean, I've done some pretty cool stuff over the years too. So
I saw that last. I don't even know if you can call it a house. That megalopolis that you built in Texas, and it was gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was amazing. It was a 2-year project that I worked with the contractor on. It was kind of designed as we build kind of a deal. And it was fun. I mean, I really enjoyed working with them. I had probably 1,000 hours into it of design work, but this place, $6-7 million house, phenomenal, just really cool. I got to post that video I got of that thing. It's just really something else. Anywho, all right. We'll take a comment here. Then we're going to jump into our PowerPoint. Robin, hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Review your billable rate yearly. I have to raise my rates again. I'm too fast and efficient in my process, and I'm losing money at the current rate. Robin, you're dynamo, Robin.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, but as your skills improve, you should not be charging the same hourly rate for now very much improved skills. You should be compensating yourself for your new skill level.
Robin, one of the things I will say about you've got more confidence in your ability to charge for what you want than I've seen just about anybody. You're good at that. So way to go, girl. Yeah. By the way, Robin will be at the summit, you guys. So come and see Robin. She'll get you higher prices, charging more. Anyway, let's jump into our PowerPoint for a little bit here.
Let's do it.
We're going to try to blow through this in about an hour. I need to show my screen here. Let me present that for first. Let's see the entire screen. And this one, I think, is the one I want. And I'll hit share. You seeing the PowerPoint there, Kevin?
Yes, I am.
All right, cool. And got your lovely picture up here. So you guys, if you want to do some business coaching and talk about more of this topic in person, give Kevin a call, designbuildexperts.com. He'd be happy to work with you on that. And actually, I would too, but Kevin is more into the business end of this than I am. So I'm more your chief guy. So, Kevin's part of our team, John and Renee and Robin, and we do our design build designer show twice a month, and we'll all be at the summit together. So we'd love it if you come check us out. But we're going to just scroll through this PowerPoint. We talked a lot about this the last time. I have not posted any video on that, and I'm pretty sure I will for a little while anyway. We'll get into that. So let's go up here, and here's something that I ended with last time. How much do you charge? And again, when you talk about hourly, what can you put into your, how much value can you put into the hour that you have to offer? That's up to you. Are you going to keep drawing plans the same way you've done for the last 15 years, or are you going to improve your kitchen design skills, your bath design skills, all of the skills that go into creating a project that's going to drive your value way up. So keep that in mind. So go out and educate the heck out of yourself. These are some prices that I've heard people say over the years. Take them for what they're worth. Again, the idea of what to charge is, charge as much as you can get. against to be part of the equation. And you have to know your market and your marketplace and what you can bring to the market. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. But your square foot, your hourly prices, your square foot prices, I've seen them as low as 35 cents a square foot, all the way up to 5.5, just for the plans, not for any of the services that go into building the project. I've seen contractors that will do their projects in phases, where they'll do conceptual, they do as-built and basic plans, all the way up through they produce more detailed plans, and they produce the specs and all the proposals and everything that go with it, and then the final detailed drawings, the documents. So there's a lot that goes into a set of plans, as we all know. So remodeling, the as-built, 1 to 8%, as-built plans, and that's 4 to 12% I've seen in the industry. Architects 5 to 18. It depends on the level of involvement. The higher the percentage, the more you're going to stay involved in the project. I think that's pretty straightforward. Would you agree with that, Kevin?
Except for the one we heard this morning, where some of the competition is coming from around the globe, right? So there's people that are finding sources outside of the U.S. and one of our peers was passing along some information where he was outbid by an architect who came in with the same bid, a 12,000 square foot space for $750.
Ouch.
So, what are you going to do with that? But I totally agree with you. Within the U.S., within our communities, within the 50, I'd say that the amount you're charging is direct proportion to how much time you're willing to spend on the project.
And again, people talk about AI and they talk about overseas, people that do it for cheap and all of that. And it's just, people aren't buying that. They're buying you. They're buying you for your knowledge, your service, your skills, your trust, your everything that you put into the project that you're going to bring to them to help make their life better. And so people are willing to pay for that. You can get this report at Chief Experts. Just go to the chiefexperts.com and you can download this free 15-point. It's actually 17-point report. It's actually a pretty good document. It's got a lot of information in it, so check it out. But let's just run through it real quick. What are some of the reasons you should charge more, or someone should hire you? Charge something. That's one thing I learned back in the day when I accidentally threw out a price for plans, which I had never done before, and the client instantly wrote me a check for $750. I went, oh, okay. Well, he was committed to me, and I was committed to him to work on his plans, and I ultimately got that project, and it was an amazing project. And this really proved true over the years, in that I used to track all of my leads really close back when I was doing remodeling, and I'd get 10 calls, 10 appointments. I'd go out and do 10 plans. I'd do 10 estimates. I'd do 10 proposals. And I used to do those free back in the day when I didn't know any better. We all learn, right? So, and I would close 3 out of 10 of those. Well, then I realized, if I charge something, I get a commitment. I'm going to get 10 calls. I tell 10 people I charge for plans. 3 of them will say, oh, okay, come and do my plans, and I'll pay you for that. So now I'm getting paid for my plans, getting paid for my estimates, getting paid for my proposals. And I was getting 85 to 90% of the jobs that I was working on those things for the client. So still getting 3 out of 10 almost, but I'm getting paid for that. And I didn't have to work nearly as hard. So I think we could end the seminar right here.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Because, it's so true. Although, some people are charging something to get that commitment, but they're not charging enough to do a really good job on the whole plan. Right. Some will chalk it up to marketing. Some say they're going to build it into the cost of the project. Somewhere, somehow, either you're going to work for free or you're going to have to build that into the cost of the project. How you sell that and present that to your client is up to you. I'm more of the, let's keep it transparent and say, hey, this is for the design. This is how much it's going to be, and that's what it is, versus, hey, we're going to charge you a little bit for this. and that's what it's going to be. If you do the job, you get the money back, and we'll build. A lot of contractors when you say we're building the cost of the project, but
Yeah, I don't agree with that philosophy because it immediately discounts your value. It says that
Yeah.
whatever you're spending on, whatever you, Mr. Client, are spending on the design, it's just a hook.
Yeah.
And that as soon as you accept this build design, I'm going to value my time at nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. Your
Yeah.
time is valuable from the start. You should get paid a fee that's commensurate with your value.
Because professionals get paid for their services.
There you go.
Right. Okay. Bingo. So, I just went to the eye doctor yesterday, get a new prescription. They got paid for their services, probably a lot. Attorneys, everybody that's in business, you deserve to get paid for your knowledge and your services. So keep that in mind. Professionals work at building relationships. I've heard this over and over again. Yeah, the contractor comes in and he says, yeah, you got to do this and blah, 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 blah. The contractor spends 99% of the time doing all the talking. And the client gets a word in here and there, and then they wonder why they didn't get the job. And I know, Kevin, you have a great story about your ability to build relationships. Just tell us about that real quick. How you would go to the client's house and you wouldn't even bring a tape measure with you.
Yeah, I don't go with a tape measure, and I don't walk in and ask them what they want to measure. I walk in and ask them how they are and how their life is and how the kids are. Do you have kids? Are they at home? I just start talking to them about our relationship, and by the time we're done, I know a lot about them, and the design is already coming to me as far as what I need to come up with. But the part that blows them away is when I turn around and use that information to suggest to them ways to do the design that they haven't even talked to me about yet.
Yeah. So keep that in mind when you guys are out there meeting with the client. Take a little time, sit down, have a cup of coffee with them, talk a little bit about how things are going, what you guys do, and then, where you've been, how you got here. Find out more about them, because that's really what you're doing is you're building a project for them. You're not just building a project.
And they may think they know what they want, but most of the time, even what they think they want, you can do better. You can just use your expertise and give them more than what they want.
Exactly. As-built plans, again, another area that contractors especially hate doing as-built plans. They'll go out and do quick measurements and come back and draw it up and hope that they're close. We have some of the modern equipment now. We have the Canvas IO, we have the Matterport, we have other digital programs that we can go and scan the house, and some of them work pretty darn well. So whatever you're doing to get as-built, make sure they're accurate. Make sure you're paying attention to things as you're looking at the project. I think what I would recommend, even if you're just going to go in and sketch out a few things, take 10 minutes at the beginning of the project and go around, take pictures of everything. And I always do that whenever I go measure a house, and I measure with, I always go out with my laptop stand and my laptop, and I measure on site. Here's a picture of me outside the place in Coeur d'Alene that we were at that one time, posing with my stand.
It's very good.
But I draw on site. I draw the plan on site right in Chief Architect. So when I'm done, I got most of the project already finished, and I know I'm 100% confident that it's accurate. Plus, I've learned all about the client in that process. I've learned how they live. I learned how they store things, package things. If I'm doing a kitchen, I pay a little attention to what's going on in the kitchen. I'm going to figure out where the beams are, the ceiling heights, the floor thicknesses. Whatever you need to work on in that project, I'm going to spend the time to do that. And I charge for that. So
you're looking at it only in terms of the structure, but you also have the same, you can take in the same type of information for lifestyle. So
exactly. And you pick up on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, if you're in someone's house and, they have white shade carpet and, 5,000 knickknacks everywhere that are perfectly dusted, you want to be careful with that, client.
And be careful. Be laptop stand.
Be careful with everything, but just pay attention, because those kind of alarm bells that should come up if you're a contractor. Look out for that kind of stuff. But anyway, you learn about that by spending time at the client's house. So charge for that time. And people don't mind. I mean, I will go spend a whole day at their house poking around and everything. I'm very open with them. I tell them, yeah, I'm just here to measure. I don't care what here. I've been doing this a long time. No one's ever given me any hard time about that. So keep that in mind.
In the theme of making more through your design process, this one isn't necessarily relegated to only charging them for the as-built. You absolutely should do. That's your most important drawing of all. But it's also the idea that the better your as-builts are, the less return trips you've got, the less confusion you've got, the less wrong things you're doing in your final plan. So, so spending time on the as-builts is going to generate more profit in the end for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And less problems and a whole bunch of other things. We talked about that last session. Here, I'll even zip back here for a second to that part of it. And, where we talk about all the parts of the project where we have all of those things that go into a project. Okay. And of course, as built part of this design measuring thing, you take that out and do a poor job on it. And all these other things don't go as well. So going to keep that in mind. It really does make a difference. So let me just zip back here. All right. Number 5, take the time needed to get the right information. We talked a little bit about that in number 3, I think it was, or whatever. Number 2, get to know the client and get to know what it is that they're looking for, what they want, what they're thinking of, and also what's at the project, what's involved in the project. So that, could be questionnaires that you work with. It could be a whole bunch of different things, spend some time with them on house or get them a house account set up so they can start saving pictures or whatever it is that you need to get the information that you're working on. How do you deal with that, Kevin?
First thing is that I ask them, I'll let them know picture's worth 1,000 words is very much true. And anything that they can do to transfer the image that they have in their head to an image in my head is going to benefit the project as a whole. Yeah. So whether they're doing that via an online bulletin board, sharing things on House, giving me a stack of magazine clippings, whatever it is, those are all good ways to transfer the visual image that they're perceiving for their eventual space into you for your design.
And then there's the clients that you'll run into that think we already know what they think we should be doing for them.
Yeah.
Oh, you read minds, right?
Well,
no.
I had one that somebody gave me, I'll call it a stack of 5 kitchens, and 4 of them were white and 1 of them was brown. And I'm looking at these trying to figure out, well, clearly they like white kitchens, right? Or is it, I'm looking this because what am I looking at? The style of the cabinets? Or am I looking at the white, or what am I looking at? So when I asked them about it, they said, oh, no, I just like the countertops. Oh, yeah. So the cabinets had nothing to do with it. And if you don't ask the questions, then even what you got in that visual image can mislead you.
Magic word right there. Okay. Ask the right questions.
Yep.
All right. So I've always said that a really good designer is a really good question asker. Okay. They know how to ask the questions that get to the bottom line of what it is the client really wants. And as you mentioned earlier, it might not be what they originally thought they wanted, but through the process of asking all these questions, you'll pull that information out and you'll give them ideas and go, oh yeah, that's what I really want. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. So getting the right information is really important. Number 6, finalizing the details in advance saves time. You ever have been on a project where you had all these things spec'd out and then you forgot to order the sink, or no one specified the sink and now the kitchen's delayed 8 weeks because the sink's going to come in, or the faucet or something like that? Those kind of details that you don't get in the plan can cost a lot of time. So that's something to keep in mind when you're working on a plan, is being able to, when you're charging enough, you can sit with the client and you can work through these details. You can go to the showrooms, you can get the selections all done. And those kind of details, again, can save a lot of time in the whole process. How do you deal with that, Kevin?
Well, I like to have a list on my initial drawings, even on the as-builts, where I'm sitting down with the clients and the questions that have come through my mind I'm raising. But at that point, I've already been there. I've already generated something. The most important thing for me is to sit down from the start and get a really good ballpark understanding of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And I don't mean I'd like a wall over here, and gee, wouldn't it be cool if I want to know how they want to live in the space,
Yeah,
and what they're trying to achieve in the space, and whether that's going to serve just them or an extended family, and then start building in ideas that I can take back to them. But once I have those, they all go down in a scope of work that reflects everything that we've talked about and the details about those.
Yeah. So, it's just a good way to avoid a lot of those costly project delays that happen all the time. Some contractors thrive on change orders. I was never one of those. I didn't like change orders. So I tried to get everything in my plan, but ultimately you're going to get change orders. It just happens. No one can get everything in the plan, but you can get a lot closer if you just work at it. All right. So finalizing those details will save time. Number 7, well done plans eliminate mystery and surprises. That's kind of really a takeoff of number 6 of, again, where we're really defining the scope. We're picking out the fixtures. We're picking out the things that go into the project as much as possible as we're working on it. So again, that's just kind of bringing it all together in that plan. That's part of the beauty of Chief Architect in the 3D world that we're in, is that we can show a lot of those things in the plan now. Chief's libraries have become there's so many libraries now, and there's so many manufacturers coming on board creating libraries for Chief. We can really show actual things in the plan now. That's pretty cool.
There's another thing. We're going to get into this a little bit on our show on Friday, but we're going to get into it a lot, actually. But one of the things that Chief has really advanced in the last couple of versions is the ability to exploit schedules. Schedules can work extraordinarily well as either additional pages in your plan sets or as tables in your plan pages that are defining specific elements, whether you can use keynotes to keep the clutter out of your drawings, but just have a referential point within the drawing. And it could be anything. On a plumbing drawing, you could take it down to the finishes and fixtures level as opposed to the rough plumbing level. It could be anything you want in there. You could have furnishings. You could decide where the grand piano goes and have it itemized.
Yeah.
But schedules can be really helpful to capture the information and provide it back to the client to say, check off here.
I was just on a call before this where I was, we were working on schedules. Client I was doing some training with and talking about schedules, and the guy there says, "Can we do?" We're talking about cabinet schedules and how we could do the custom, call outs and all this kind of stuff. And the guy sitting there said, "Can we do that on windows and doors too?" And said, "Oh yeah." And he just started cheering. He was so happy because it's automatic. The Chief scheduling function is just wow. And you're going to hear Robin say that a bunch on Friday. So
yeah,
Robin, now, I know you love schedules.
But now with the ability to customize the schedules or to create your own custom schedules, you can do anything with them.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Number 8, planning saves time and money. Yeah, okay, we already know that. During the planning process, you get to pick out the products. Again, we're kind of beating this one to death in the last few of these. But yeah, it really does make it all the difference in the world. And again, some of my most successful projects are the ones where we spend a lot of time planning. Even the big one that we talked about earlier, we planned, because there was some major complicated framing going on in this big house that we were talking about earlier. We spent a lot of time planning that stuff out, and to the point where it was all in 3D. And all they had to do was print out these plans in the 3Ds and show them to all the carpenters and go, "Oh, okay, let's build it like that." And it worked out really well. So again, that process that we had to go through to get to that, it really paid off in a big way. And I just was working on a plan for a client recently where I put a lot of effort into the 3D framing because he's going to do a lot of the work himself. And, he's not a contractor, but he's able to do it. He got the wherewithal to do that, and he's got friends that'll help him. But for him to be able to look at it and go, oh, okay, that's how you got to build it. Done. So they're willing to pay for that. And it will save him a ton of money and time in the long run. So it wasn't a big deal. So paying for that, putting that stuff in there makes a lot of sense. What do you say on that one, Kevin?
I agree with you, and it comes in really handy when you're doing things like detailing something. Let's say that you're planning a specific way that you want staircase built, or the newels, or the balustrade itself. Or recently I had a project where I had specified timber trusses, arched timber trusses, and I wanted them to die into each other with a notch and blah, 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 blah. Well, I can say all that, but the carpenter's still scratching his head saying, but how do you want it built and how do you want it to look?
Mm-hmm.
By using Chief's capabilities in the design and providing those drawings, I can actually show how to generate the trim details within the trim. Yeah. Abstract.
I tell you, I find more, not necessarily errors, I find more ways to do things, or the right way to do things, when I take the time to do the 3D framing. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I like to. I can find out every bearing point, everything that needs to be paid attention to in the process. I mean, some projects are simple; you don't need that stuff. But we're both in the world where we deal with a lot of complicated framing, and sometimes you need, can I build this here? Well, where do I support it all the way down? I got to put a header here, and I got to do this and that. And we can really lay that stuff out nicely. Mm-hmm. So that really works well. So planning, saves a ton of time. Proper planning. Let's do one more here. An informed client is a happier client. What does that mean? Of course, there's some clients that you can tell them everything under the sun and they will still not get it. Those are the exception to the rule, but I mean,
that's where trust comes in handy.
That is where, exactly. And
I'm going to tell a short one that just cracked me up time. So I had a client who we were signed. I was under the construction. Did the demolition, started to wire things, get things ready, and ask her, what she thought. She said, yeah, whatever. I don't come downstairs. I could, okay. Right. We got to the point where we're doing the framing, and she's looking at it. I said, so what do you think? And she goes, yeah, I don't know. I can't see it. And I said, so when you say you can't see it, I mean, we have a contract. You saw it in the contract. No, I didn't. I just know that you'll do it. Do what I need. Okay. So it wasn't until she called and said the trim is going up, and she goes, Kevin, I can see it now. So she completely trusted that we were going to produce a result for her, and was just going with it without any idea of what it was going to look like until it was actually all the way to the trim stage.
Nice. And that's part of building that trust with your client, spending the time with them, finding out about how they work and how they live, and, they learn to trust you, and you learn what they really want. So, but have you ever had a client that, maybe they're retired or something, hung around a lot, and would say, well, why are you doing that? And why are you doing it like that?
Yep.
I used to have that built in. I used to have this little form. I think it's on, if you search my blog, you can find it, where I had it was from Better Homes and Gardens, where I took these things to help make your project go smoother. And it was a little article put together by Better Homes and Gardens a long time ago. And I just took it and kind of, made it fit my business. And I actually had people sign that. Because one of the things, there's two things on there that were really important. One was that halfway through the project, you're going to hate me because your home's going to be a mess and there's going to be dust everywhere. And it's just, you're going to wonder what's going on. Why is it taking so long? So I would tell people about the roller coaster. What do they call that? The highs and lows of remodeling project. There's other terms for it. Another time.
I call it remodeling roller coaster, but yeah.
Yeah. We could talk about that all day long, but and then the other one was, go easy on the questions while the guys are on site, while we're working on the project. If you have questions, you contact me. You don't go ask the guys on the site. Let them do their job.
Yeah.
And that was really important. So, but I actually had that part of a form, and there's more than once I had to pull that out because the clients were mad at me and said, "Yeah, I told you you're going to be mad at me," and they go, "Oh, okay." But
Yeah. But look, see, on the other end of this, you're going to really love me right here.
exactly, and that would be true. So
Look
it worked
forward
out
to
really
that.
well. It worked really well. All right, let's take a short break here and go talk a little bit about our summit that we got coming up.
And now a word from our sponsors.
A word from our sponsor, Chief Experts. You got it. And let me present again. Let's go here. I want to go with this one. We'll keep us up there. And are we still on there? I think we are.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments on all this, by the way. So let us know. But over at Chief Experts, we have our Total Immersion Summit coming up in March, and we've still got space available. So if you are interested, or you have someone you know that might be interested, please let them know about this. It's a deal that we do once a year, and it's pretty phenomenal. It's really been a huge success for us and for those that attend it, because it's I mean, when you take a group of people like this, and we're all after the same thing, to become better chief architect users and become better at our business, get to know each other, and we're connecting with like-minded individuals. We're talk about confidence. John mentioned, was it Chris was mentioning, was it Chris, I think, mentioned early on about he's at the top of his price structure now.
Yeah,
he has to turn work away.
It's in this particular comment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, talk about ROI. So there was pretty good return on his investment coming to our event. And Chris might even be in this picture somewhere. It's just, I could go on and on about it. Go to this page. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this right now, although I should. There's our group, and take a look at what we do. Testimonials on this page, the power of togetherness, and this kind of happened as a fluke. This whole idea of how we do this. I had this idea back in 2013 to go do some training in Las Vegas at the Builder Show. And I know Chief Architect always goes and does their training too. And I didn't really want to do a conference room because it's a conference room. So I got this idea to rent a house, and a big house, and fill it up with clients. And God, we had a lot of fun. I mean, we had, I don't know, about a dozen of us there. We got there, didn't think about the food, so we all had to go to we all went to the grocery store together and filled up 3 carts worth of food for the week. It took turns cooking every meal. We
had a ball though.
We
had been a little rough, but the camaraderie and the networking was fantastic, and we all learned a great deal, enough that I never stopped going.
No, and look at you now. So again, that the idea. I remember when we were talking early on, you had talked about not doing design anymore or something because you just weren't making any money at it. And I think we all picked on you pretty hard because we started to learn about the skills that you had and the types of projects that you created. And it's like, what are you doing, Kevin? We started getting on your case, and then somehow the word got back to your wife and kids, and they got on your case. And I think you have a mentor or friend of yours that was always on your case, and finally you took it and ran with it. So that was pretty cool to hear. And,
and that's the same thing that we'd love to do for any of you and all of you, is to kind of push you along into be able to reach for things that you didn't even think of reaching for. So the summit's a great way to do that.
I mean, we not only talk about chief architect at the summit, but you're going to also learn about your business and accounting and marketing, and anything that's part of your business that you want to get better at, we'll be there to help you with that.
The things that we talk about during these sessions, things like this pop-up webinar or like the designer show, they're just nibbles. We're just on the surface talking about things. Yeah, I mean, on the designer show, a lot of times we'll try to dive in and solve some deep problems, but that there's only so much you can do when you're talking about all of these topics in the short amount of time, in an hour. But when you're at the summit, one of the reasons we did what we did and created it the way we have is that you've got the entire day into the night if you want, through the night if you want. You can get as deep as you want to immerse yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the way it works is we get into we have a whole group that my sister and a bunch of other people come and cook all the meals. And again, that old saying, you come for the food, stay for the training, still holds true. I mean, the food is phenomenal. Once you get there and once you leave, you're totally taken care of the whole time. This year, we start arriving on Monday, March 17th. People will fly into different airports or drive. A lot of times we'll arrange carpooling and things like that. So you don't have to rent a car if you get there. We spend Monday and Tuesday. We spend all day Tuesday setting up. Everybody gets there. We get them settled in. We have some meals together. Just kind of get everything rolling. The networking starts, and then that evening we get together and we have a discussion. Everybody gets to introduce themselves. Then we go for 3 days. That would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to do our 3 days of training. We're going to have different training opportunities there for you from beginner to advanced.
And from technical to business.
And everything in between. So you'll have your choice of what you want to take. And, there's plenty of times where maybe you have some advanced topics you want to talk to Renee about. So you spend some time with him, and then you come back to my classroom, do some intermediate stuff. And then you want to learn a bit more about cabinets, and you go sit with Robin for a while. You want to learn about your business, you can sit with Kevin and his wife, Judy. It's just tons of opportunity there. So on so we have our days there, and then day 6 would be a day off, just to chill, go explore the Outer Banks, which is just gorgeous. But this time of year, it's really starting to get nice out. So you'll have a chance to just hang out and do whatever you want that day. Then we come back for 2 more days, Sunday and Monday we're going to hit it hard training. And then on day 9, that's Tuesday, people are welcome to start hanging out, relaxing, check out anytime you want on Tuesday. And then we have to be out of there Wednesday by noonish, something like that. So rather than just end it and say, oh, we got to leave, that extra day of just hanging out and doing some extra training and doing some extra whatever you want to do, it's really proved to be beneficial. So big commitment and time. We understand that, but I tell you, it'll pay off big time. So it's really quite an event. So check out this page. We'll be adding some updates to it. We still have space available in the Black Stallion, and we have other spaces available in this house 300 feet away. Black Stallion's a 24-bedroom event house. It's really cool. Check it out so you can see the list of the rooms that are still available. So we would love to see you there. If you have questions, please give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. So there you go. Anything you want to add, Kevin?
The only thing that I think that you kind of blew by was just that the opportunities that you have where you're talking to any of us, all of us, or the people that you meet along the way. You've got the evenings to do this kind of a thing. That last day, a lot of times people are taking that last day then to say, okay, I'm going to go spend a couple hours with Kevin. Okay, I'm going to go spend a couple hours, with this person I met in the class. I'm going to go, he was talking about something. I really want to figure out what that is. And so it comes in very handy. Don't cut yourself short in those deals. Take full advantage of those opportunities. Because the free training is pretty amazing. So take advantage of it.
Exactly. Yeah, Edit started offering 10-hour packages. If you go to my website, you'll see how it's a great way to do it. So 10 hours and people, you can work with people for that time. And when you need more, you refresh that hours. So that's a good way to do it. Timothy says, don't forget to include that fudge factor when you provide your proposal. So, and that's so true. I mean, I would tell all of my clients back in the day, yeah, add 10% because it's probably going to go that much higher in the course of the project. And that's talking about building the projects. How you do it for your designs, that's up to you. My plumber's price is a gauge. If the guy fixes my toilet, charges $150, I better be making more than that so I can afford it. There you go. I like that one. I think about that all the time, actually.
You have a lot of problems, do you?
Not that particular item, but just, if I want to hire professionals, how much are they going to cost and what am I charging? So that's another way to gauge what your rate is. Provides 4 hours of free sketching. Now, I'm gonna stop you right here. Don't ever use that word free. Okay.
And don't ever provide 4 hours of it, whatever you call it.
But if you're going to do it, at least call it complimentary. That insinuates that there's a value to it. So you just change the wording a little bit will help a lot. Get rid of that word free. Okay. Free work is usually as valuable as it costs you. Exactly. So good point. Just keep that in mind. Always focus on your client's desires rather than what you can provide. Very good. That's talking about a little bit of the emotion involved there. Robin's working on her schedules right now. Yay, schedules. And Jill's already registered. Can't wait to meet you guys. Jill, we're looking forward to meeting you too. So let's jump back into our presentation. We got a few items that we're going to blow through quickly. Let me get to the right screen and I'll pop that in here. Go back to the full screen. This right here. All right. Number 10, an informed crew is a more productive crew. You ever had a crew out on the job? And have you ever built the job yourself, Kevin, where you had to pull out your tape measure all the time to get all the damn measurements off of it? And then you get there and something's not in the plan that's there in the house and, just a shitty plan, excuse my French. Again, if you take the time to do the project correctly, do the plans correctly, it makes a big difference. So your crews will love you for it. And the other thing, I get a lot of clients where we get the plans and it's full of fractions, 16th here and 3/16 there and things like that. And it's just like, I don't know many carpenters that like all those fractions on a plan. Let's try to get rid of as many of those as possible. And there's ways to do that in Chief really easily.
On the other hand, rounding your dimensions and having them not add up is not a good idea either. So,
well, and that's where I always tell people when you're working on the plan, make sure all your fractions are turned on and then try to dimension things so they don't have fractions as much as possible, or at least, round them to the nearest half inch. And then there's a setting in Chief, you can turn all the fractions off if you want to. And I do that sometimes when I'm presenting to my clients because they don't need to see all the fractions. But, if you got half inches here, 1/4 inches there, you're going to have those. There's just no way around it. But don't fill the plan up with all those other fractions. Anyway, take your time to do a good set of plans and make sure all the dimensions are there. That's one of the last things I do on a plan is I go through and I redo all the dimensions and I make sure that, I kind of like put my tool belt on for a second in my mind and think, if I'm out building this job, do I have all the dimensions I need to build it? So that's a big part of dimensioning a job correctly. Fewer change orders, save time and money. Some people think just the opposite of that. Change orders are, profit centers, which they can be if you charge properly for your change orders. But I don't know. I never liked change orders. I never was very good at charging enough for all my change orders because you're there. You think you can get it done quicker than you really can. I don't know. I probably did okay on my change orders when I had them, but you're always going to have some, charge the right price for them. Some are trickier than others. We already know that, if you have carpet in your plan and you're going to do a change order to something else, how do you deal with that?
I do think, I think that particular topic is true on both sides, but I think it's true depending on your perspective. If you are the process-oriented, linear thinking project director who's trying to make sure that the project ends on time and you're moving on to your next project, change orders are bad.
Yeah.
If you're the creative type that knows that you can create something that's really gorgeous, if people will just get on board as you move along, change orders are wonderful. So
Yeah.
I think it just depends, but they do definitely drag things out.
Yeah. And I know some contractors that will charge a fee for every change order, $100 for every change order, something like that. I suppose it depends on how the change order is initiated. If it's a client change order versus something that just has to be done because of conditions, it is what it is. You just have to be flexible, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. The idea of charging for the change order is to discourage the willy-nilly change orders that are, flip-flopping all over the place. I would never charge for a change order that was forced, that was a situation that, just flat, we have to do this. But if it's client request, then there's a charge attached.
Yeah, absolutely. Satisfy your client's goals with new design ideas. Okay, so sometimes, you might be working on the project and the budget's higher than everybody expected. That never happened to me, but I know it happened to a few people once. Or like everybody. So that gives you, when you're charging the right amount for a set of plans, it gives you the ability to work with the client more to come up with those ideas that can help make the project cost less. So what's the word for that again? Value engineering, I think they call them. Yeah. So again, keep that in mind when you're working with your client, and it takes time to do that. This big project I was showing you recently that we had the addition here, and then they're going to leave the house and then tear the house down when the addition's done. We did a ton of value engineering on that, and probably saved the excuse me. In the course of the project, they probably saved $100,000 of because of the changes that we made. So it's a pretty big deal on a project like that. So paid way more than my fees were. So that was a good deal for everybody there. Number 13, save money with value engineering. Oh, speaking of value engineering, why do I have this in there twice? This is new design ideas versus value engineering. So
this is why you got to 17 out of your 15 options.
Yeah, I guess. Let's just double up on things. You can charge more for that. Value engineering is where, this picture reminds me now of why I put it there. It's just like, yeah, you could have $1,000 faucet or you can have $100 faucet. What is it that you're going to pick for your project? So that's where you want to keep in mind as you're working through the selections and things like that. I mean, I know you do it, Kevin, where your client's going to, you got a light fixture allowance, and how easy is it to go around a light fixture allowance?
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the challenges with this concept is that if you're looking at a project and looking at what's your risk, what's your liability, what's your warranty on $100 faucet versus the $1,000 faucet. So if you the trick is that you want to make sure the scope of work that's being signed off on is pretty close to what they want, because you don't want to suddenly be on the hook for $1,000 faucet when your budget was $100. Not that you're going to pay the difference, but if that faucet goes bad, if all the things that happen to those things, if you have to warrant that faucet or whatever else, you're dealing with a much higher end. It's got to be treated more carefully, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Yeah, exactly. So value engineering, there's lots of different ways to look at it, but yeah, it can make a big difference. All right, reduce the fear and anxiety of the unknown. That's one of the beauties of 3D and Chief Architect is we can show people what it's going to look like. A clear plan, a plan that's got a lot of care, plan that's got a lot of care put into it. Yeah, it makes a big difference on, you ever had a client that just can't make a decision, and they're just, they just don't know what to do. And, this part of the process, when you spend the time with the client to really show them what they're getting, can make a big difference. Have you ever had clients like that, Kevin?
Absolutely. Just this last year. And it was because I could then use Chief Architect to come back and say, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'll draw 3 different views of this so that you can see it in a 3D form. And maybe that'll make you more comfortable. And when they saw it, they're going, okay, I get it now. And, it relieves a lot of stress on their part. And that stress turns into negative anxiety if you let it go.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, taking the time to work with the client to help them overcome that anxiety, big deal. I mean, it really can make a big difference. The next one, preventing angry phone calls from clients. Okay. How could this happen? You've got your clients out there that, your subs out there working on something, and something happens that wasn't part of the plan, or something got missed, or, whatever. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different things. I've talked to so many contractors that they spend their whole day putting out fires because, things are just not planned out properly. And again, some of that can be avoided. Not all of it. I mean, you'll never avoid all of that, but.
Yeah, but I think one of the easiest ways to avoid it is, and this was something that we did religiously, was that we would schedule meetings. I tell them from the point of the contract that we're going to have weekly meetings, and you're always invited to those meetings. You can choose whether or not you want to attend, but we're going to have them whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
And then that way, what we've seen is that takes any curiosities, questions, or concerns, and it lets us bring them to the table, possibly saving 5 business days before they might get discussed at the next meeting. So your attendance is optional, but it does everybody good if you're there. And then our clients would tell us at the end of the projects that it was one of the things they liked best was the weekly meetings.
Yeah. I used to do that same thing too. A lot of meetings, not a lot of meetings, but enough meetings to do the job. So just staying in touch with everybody involved in the project made a big difference. All right, number 16. Well, actually, there's 2 more, but I don't really have them on here. So again, some of the other benefits, you make more money, happier clients, more referrals, fewer callbacks, time to spend with your family. And one of the big ones here, did I put that on here? I didn't. One of the big ones is you're going to eliminate the competition. I don't know. I thought I had a slide just for that, but eliminate the competition is one of the other benefits of charging for your planning services and charging a good price for it, or charging something for it. I mean, back in the day when I would just charge a few $100s to do the plans that I used to be doing for free, it really did. It took a lot of the competition out of the mix, because it would give me a chance to then work with the client to build that relationship and build that trust and really get the project going in the right direction. And again, 85% of the time or more, I would get the project because of that. So it's just a matter of how you want to do it.
The other part of that is that the client's in from the beginning. When they've invested in the process, when they've invested in you, and they've invested in your relationship, from day one, you've already improved your odds of this turning out to be a great project. But as you go through that process and they are invested, they're not looking at something like, you're just occupying my evening, I wish you'd go home now, but this is money that they spent for you to be there. Then everybody ends up in a better position. Yeah.
So planning's got to be a priority. Your mindset. So much of this is mindset. A contractor now says, we can't charge more for plans because we won't get the project. I don't know. I always say, well, learn to be a better salesperson then. There's some truth to that. Maybe not totally, but yeah, there's truth to that. Becoming a more effective professional salesperson, that's a good thing. So learn about becoming a salesperson, and one of the biggest things you're going to learn about becoming a professional salesperson is good salesperson knows how to ask the right questions and ask a lot of questions. So their
I
whole
think-
mindset is about that.
I think one of the best things about what you're talking about is don't be a good salesperson. Just be really good at what you do, and the sale will happen. You know, it's
It's not so much about being a salesperson, so to speak. It's about the techniques that you use to communicate with your client.
Yeah.
That's what a good salesperson does, is use good techniques. It's not about forcing people to sign the contract or anything like that. It's about being yourself, but learning how to do it in a way that gets the results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there we go. So, oops, what happened? Oh yeah, chiefexpert.com. Find out more information. Yeah, check us out over there. And again, Kevin, you can reach Kevin directly at designbuildexperts.com if you're looking for some help on design or coaching, or you just want to talk to a nice guy.
I'm friendly. You know, you can talk.
Yeah, he hasn't bit me yet. So anyway, 14 as an introduction letter outlines the process from, here, I should turn that on. Process from starting to completion of construction documents. Many have commented it took away a lot of their fears getting started. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Just that whole process.
We used to have a sheet that both sides of one sheet that was just a what to expect document, and it just told people what they're going to see as it comes down the pike.
Yeah, I have that too. Yeah, communication is a really big deal. All right, Kevin, you got anything else you want to add?
I don't, other than I am personally very glad that you all continue to join us, and we pick up new people joining us all the time. And I feel like somehow, even though sometimes we only see your names, I get to know you. So feel free to continue. Feel free to contact us, and we'd love to talk with you.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got some good things coming down the pipe here. So the summit is one of them, but I've got some other things I'm working on Pro Academy that I'll be announcing through December, and we'll look forward to having you part of that. So I want to get online more and get more of this stuff going. Everybody, I'm all fuzzy now.
You are. I don't know.
I'm not focusing. I'm not focused. Thanks for being here again, and we really appreciate it. And feel free to reach out to us if you have questions or you just want to talk about this kind of stuff. So, guys, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Everybody.